Hello. Hello and welcome to Space Engineers, the Stellar Garage. I'm Duke Skyloper. Today, we are back working on the old Carolina Reaper fighter here. And it was just about done. We were just... hold on. There we go. Get in the game. Get your head in the game. We were just about done with it until we realize that when you're looking through this somewhat protected camera here, the muzzle flash is completely blinding, so we have to do something about that by either moving the camera forward, or backward, or up or down, or something. So, that's what we're going to do. We're going to redesign the front of this thing. I did kind of like it, but I also kind of didn't. So, one thought that I had was, for these little parts that stick up, there we go, these little parts that stick out on the side here, maybe we kind of mimic this kind of design to a degree and then put our guns in between it. So I think we're going to tear out, I almost lost it against the earth there. We're going to make a copy, drop you right over here. That's going to be our backup. Then we're going to take the end of this off and take this all out. Let's see. Let's get rid of you two. I'm going to try and keep the cannons where they are, but these are going to change just a little bit. I might leave those. Try to leave those there. We'll see. Alright. So I think what we may end up doing is putting the camera, and I know this is kind of a... I've completely lost track of this toolbar. That I might put the camera... Yeah, there's fine. Here instead, this one. And have it be just slightly above, instead of being in between the guns, have it be slightly above. And then maybe we'll end up moving that forward a little bit or something. Or maybe we'll end up, putting it down here in the middle. I want to do some tests without shooting the thing here. What do the various different locations of the camera look like when you're shooting? So that's not as bad. It's still kind of annoying and blinding, but not as bad. Apologies for seizure warning here, but that's not as bad. What if we were to put it like there? That's significantly better. So I think that's where we're going to try and put it. So whether it's this one or the circular one, we'll have to decide. But I think that's the best place to put it. We could raise it up one and put it just above them, and I think that would be okay. We'll just kind of move the flashes to the bottom sides of the screen, but I think this is fine. We'll see if we can fit it in. So what I want to try to do with that, incorporating that, is I think we're gonna take that out. I might go back and readjust that back there, but I kind of want to split that out again and go doing the same. Maybe I want to go one more than before. Oh, how did I do this last time? I think it was this, right? And then that, and then that. So slightly further out than last time, and it is a little bit wider. But maybe we could So, kind of, going along with that, then we would... I think I'm in the right group here for this, yeah. So do I have the other color here? Yeah, there we go. So we would do this, and then... Now, let me think. Now, do we have a... I think we do have... let's see. We could make this work. Hold on. We could go like this. Oh, actually, then maybe we don't even need to go as far forward, huh? If we wanted to just stop right there, we could pull everything back one. Does that look weird, given that it's like underneath that thing? I think it does. I think that's the change we need. The change we need to happen in the world here is to pull that forward one. And then start here with that same design. Then we could do that. Now, does that imply that the... Yeah, it kind of feels like that block right there should be the blue color. Let me see if I could fit that in there. Yeah, like that. That's not bad. That's not bad. I kind of like that. So what can we do with the camera now to protect that camera? We could do the same thing as before and get some kind of window in front of it. Let's see, how could we pull that off? It doesn't have to sit on this little arm thing like this, although it either has to be this kind of camera or it has to be the circular kind. And actually, that's a good question. Does the circular one, because you see how this one is kind of like, I'm kind of bouncing around here, kind of low and not centered. Does that actually matter, or is it still centered in the block? I can't tell. So the guns are a little high, so it seems to be not centered. If we were to put like a camera, and I actually don't even know, I guess it would be here. If we were to put you there, yeah. So that is centered differently. Oh, I never noticed that. I never knew that the cameras were, yeah, even like actually, like the actual point of view is different depending on the type of camera. So this one is actually centered in the block, and this one is actually a little bit lower in the block. I had no idea. So we could stick with that one if we wanted to. I also don't mind having the lower one. I think either way, our options for how this works are a little bit limited. And also, these are different colors, aren't they? Yeah, that's the white. And that's the gray, which is okay. Is that supposed to be white? That's supposed to be gray. Kind of like that it's white, though, in the front. But the teeth are white. And maybe that's okay, then, because it's actually hard to see the transition right there. Maybe the transition should go up to there. Let's see. Yeah, let's do that. It does mean, though, which is my... Oh, wait, what color are all of you things? All of you things. Hang on. So I need the gray. Now I'm second guessing which color is which. This one I want to be there. That's the gray. And then this one I want to be that white. Okay, was I using the correct? Oh, I guess I was. Wait a minute. So hold on. Do I have an extra white color on here? What color is this then? Hang on. That's not the same as this color. Where did this color come from that I was painting with? This is this color, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's weird. Well, now I feel like the actual white is going to be maybe too bright for this. Yeah, in this case I actually like the... Yeah, we'll just stick with that. Okay. So then the question is, what is our front look like with this camera? How do we cover this up? Let's see, because the camera's taking up this spot. I do want to have it protected somehow. I don't want it to just be left open. So if we did go out one, like that, and then put our camera in front of it, or not camera, but like our we did something like that, and then put our window in front of it. That's a text mail. Window 1 by, yeah, that's gonna be you, isn't it? Yep. That is that way. So if we did that, something like that. Does it look silly? It almost looks like it's fragile, like it's gonna bust off pretty easily. It's like it'll protect you from one hit or so, and then that'll be that. We could consider lowering the Gatling guns by one and putting them down in this row, which would maybe give us a little bit more options here. Although I do like having them in line with the thing there. Maybe we don't need the camera. What if we just said, well, the camera's good for zooming in and stuff, and yeah. What if, instead of having this big nose on the front, and bottom. Yep, I just deleted the wrong things. What if we did something with... Can I have them in here? What if we did something with the beam blocks instead? The half beam blocks like this. Would a This is gonna be... This is a test. This is not gonna look good, I'm sure. No. Okay. Yeah, that should have been obvious. We could still put our window on it, though. If we wanted to try that. Let me put my Gatlings back in. Yeah, here's a thought. Where's the... Hold on. Weapons, where's the group? Here we go. What if we did use the DLC ones? They sit a little bit further back. Yeah, I don't really like this thing on top. I think this needs to just end up being like plate. Something like that. It could... Nah, it can't. It can't really. I was going to say it could, like, kind of go across. It could make a... We could still do something shape-wise with it, but... I hate how the triangles don't have any way to mirror with certain textures. Are these things white? Did I put them in white, or is that just the color they are? What parts have you changed colors? Oh, that's just the color that the barrels are. Okay. Now, does that look better? I actually think maybe the originals do look better. Some of these things used to be... Weren't these black before? Did this entire thing suddenly change to be like... Oh no, that's right. They were... Yeah. I could have swore that part on the front was a different color. I could be wrong. Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. Okay. I was just misremembering. Okay. So... Let's see, and then... Do we want this shape thing on the front to be... like a color, or is that too much blue? But that's okay, actually. I kind of like it like that, I think. I think I like it like that. Yeah. Yep. I think that's it. Do we need to do anything on the bottom? Do I want to keep that look on the bottom? Was I painting all... I think I was painting all those things blue, but I don't really want to paint them blue there. I think I'm going to go back to using just the... I think that... I don't know if that window's going to fall off or not. We'll put it back. I think we're going to go back to using just the armor blocks underneath here, just because it won't look as weird. I put that on the right way? Looks like it. Okay. Boy, I should put the mod in that makes the jetpack less responsive so that I can fly around a little bit easier. Alright, so I can't really do anything to unflatten that because these cannons are there. Everything else is looking good on this thing, I think. I'm still skeptical of this thing looking good right there. These little stands with the displays. Looking good from the outside, but it's not the worst. It's not the worst. It's not like it has to be aerodynamic, so... Okay, I think I am satisfied with that. Let's go back into the cockpit here and set everything up. So this is going to be the camera for the Gatlings. And this is a Gatling gun. Gatling guns. Yeah, we'll keep you there, get rid of you there. I think that's it. I don't think I had any other named things. You guys can get out of there. This camera can go away from there, but needs to stay there. Everything else is a group or the cockpit. Alright. Let's give this thing a blueprint. Carolina Reaper 6. Looking good. Let me park it next to the other one and we'll do a comparison. Should have roughly equal thrust in all directions except for forward, I think. So yeah, so we went from this, which looking back at it, I definitely like the new one better. Definitely like the new one better. This is a weird shape on the front, on the top of it. This is not, I'm not going to say it's not weird, but it is, I think, a better looking front of the ship. I don't know, I like things about both of them. But ultimately, I think this is the better one. At least we won't have a seizure while we're firing the Gatlings. We could, if we wanted to, continue to extend this over and, you know, attach it onto here if we want. But I kind of like the juxtaposition of this dipping down like this and this just kind of being a cover on the things. Most likely, if you get into battle and you take a direct hit on the front, this whole piece is just going to fly off, basically. This camera is protected from like 1 or 2 direct hits, and then after that, we're just taking straight shots to the face here. So, I think that's good for the Reaper. Okay, let's go park it in here. I don't know why I'm parking it in here, but... Or we'll smack it into the door. And we'll just, does this thing have... We did put mag plates on here, didn't we? We did. And there they go. Okay. I'll just in case I try to... Actually, let's leave that on. Let's turn you off. There we go. In case I try to fly the other ship around. It won't be weird. Not that the, not that I think that its, thrusters will be any big deal there. But, okay. So the next thing that we want to start working on is a landing ship, a surface to space landing ship of some sort. So, where will we build that at? I guess we could build it in the same spot. We'll build it right here. So, what we were talking about doing was something like a Raptor from Battlestar Galactica. So let me pull up some pictures for myself. Alright, there's a whole bunch of potential... Well, all these come from like from the same source here, don't they? Yeah, I guess there's a whole lot of variants that I assume, I can't tell what this is, but I assume that this is from like a game or something. But anyway, this is the one you saw most of the time in the game world, in the show. And what you would do is like there's the cockpit here, you would walk up the wing, and then there would be a door right here, basically. So, and then this is like the cabin area. That would make this very large. For our purposes, and I don't think we need it to be that large, but this is supposed to be a air, a ground to space type ship, so it does need to have hydrogen, which means we're probably looking at fuel tanks in the back here. Now we're not gonna, just like with the other ship, the goal is not to completely recreate the Raptor, one-to-one perfectly. It's just to take inspiration from it. So, I do like how this, like, attack helicopter version of this looks. The heavy Raptor. Oh, these are die-cast models. Yeah, I actually used to have a die-cast model. This might be a picture of it, of the one I used to have. So, the options, of course, the two main inspirations I was looking at were Star Trek shuttles, which is your classic spaceship to ground, transport. There's also like Pelicans from Halo, which have their own kind of cool little, where, it's like the opening in the back with a ramp, and I'm sure, a bunch of people have made the Pelican in Space Engineers before. Yeah, apparently also in Starfield. Yeah, so I don't really want to go for the Pelican because so many people have done that one already. So I think we're gonna go for this, but we're not gonna. Yeah, I like the idea of like having the wing that sticks out that leads up into the cabin. So maybe we'll start by kind of building a cabin, seeing what we need for thrust, because you can kind of say like we could do maybe stopping thrust here. Can I make this bigger? I don't want to see a scale there. Well, kind of. Okay, maybe not. Anyway, we could see like maybe we have some braking thrust in here. Obviously, the main thrust there. We could probably put maybe some side thrust up here, or perhaps on the side back here. Up thrust might be interesting because I don't know where exactly we're going to put that. Down thrust will probably just be in the ground. We're going to have to run piping all over the place. We're probably going to also have to put a little bit of cargo in here too, because I'm assuming that we're going to want to carry cargo. We're going to want to carry things to and from the planet, whether it's like, going down to start a base or going to do some mining or something like that and bring back some ore. I don't know, I'm taking a drink of water here, so one moment. If you're enjoying the stream, please consider throwing a like on the video. I'd appreciate it for the sake of the algorithm. Now, Rumblestrip had sent me in the Discord a picture of... Oh, would you look at that? I love when you're doing, trying to design something for Space Engineers and you find somebody has already created it in Space Engineers. Not exactly what I'm going for. Although they did manage to get the, like, side door opening thing pretty good there. Yeah, this is too slavishly close to the, trying to get really close to the design. I'm not trying to get really close to the design. So, we're going to start working on this, and we will just see how far we go. I do like the idea, though, of, so the reason Rumblestrip had sent this another one? Yep. The Assault Raptor. That's kind of cool. I don't think we need this to be a heavily armed vehicle, but we might be traveling to planets that have Saberoids. And maybe we do want some kind of a turret on it or something like that. Something that just like if we landed somewhere, it can help provide cover fire for us on the ground. And so along those lines, maybe we'll try to get some sort of either a normal single block turret stuck to each side or something like that, or maybe we build some kind of a custom turret, that can help defend us. So I do like this idea of having these rocket pods on the sides, though. That is really cool. Like just loading this thing out with so many different... This isn't supposed to be a fighter, but it is... Well, I guess it is. It's supposed to be like a troop transport, depending on how you purpose it, right? Like it could be a... almost like a bomber or like a gunship, as opposed to a troop transport, which is what they seem to be by the time of Battlestar Galactica. But in the earlier, like, Blood and Chrome and, like, when the series takes place, then they were more of a fighter. Like how this is like a modern era Battlestar Galactica fighter, as opposed to the earlier ones that they kind of, the ones that looked more like the ones from the original show that they also had on the new show. So, yeah, we're not going to go crazy. We don't need this to be covered in weapons, but... All right, let me put this out of the way here. Go back over there. Thank you. All right, let's make a... hinge. Gosh, I willed it into existence. Let's just take all this out. I think we will do a custom bridge on this one. We won't do a cockpit, because I wanted to feel more like a... kind of like... get myself comfy here. Kind of like a Deep Space Nine runabout, right? Where like you could, in theory, like, sit and have lunch in it. Get up and walk around while it's flying, but not as luxurious as a runabout, though. More like a Delta Flyer type deal where you can get up and walk around in it, but it's not luxurious or anything. So. All right, let's add medium head, sounds good. And let's bring you forward. Cool, hinge lock. All right, we'll be building this in the same color scheme. So I'm just going to go out a little bit like this, and that's what we're going to build off of. So, small grid. Do we have the new bridge windows in small grid? I don't think we do we? We only have them in large grid. I'm actually tempted to do this in large grid and see, because it is harder to get. Well, it's going to be harder. It would end up being really big. It would end up being like probably like almost the size of this entire room plus a little bit bigger. I don't think I want it to be that big, so custom bridge might be a little bit more difficult than I was originally thinking, but if we... it's, okay, so we don't want it to have a jump drive, I take it then, right? Because we wouldn't... Yeah, I guess it wouldn't have a jump drive. Because it's going to be small grid. And I don't want to have to find Prototech. That's the jump... There's a small jump drive, right, in Prototech? Refinery, thruster, jump drive. Yeah, there's a small grid jump drive. Yeah, I don't want to have to do that. Yeah, I think... So I think my concern with doing it in large grid, even though it would probably feel roomier, you know, it would probably make more sense in large grid. So if you look at like the bridge here, we'd be talking maybe like 3 across. You made it. Welcome. We're designing a space to ground lander. So anyway, I'm thinking if it was large grid, it would be just like 3 across for the cockpit, and then it would, you know, for like the wings and stuff and everything else, it would stick out way far. So I think large grid is going to end up being too large. Plus, that's a lot of weight to bring up and down and stuff. So we'll stick with our small grid, and we'll just use whatever we can. What do we have as options for small grid windows? So we don't have these things. We don't have those things. We don't have... Why do you give me an option? There's a small grid bay corner. Oh, the ones with the railings don't exist in small grid. Okay. We do have the barred windows. There's not a lot of variance of that. And then we just have the normal windows. So yeah. So that's what we're doing. It's kind of dead in chat today. Higher. Glad you showed up. Must be a school night or something. I don't know. Let's see. So I don't want to do this. If this is, let's say this is the floor, right? I should probably make this a mirror on here, huh? Okay. Alright. So let's say that's our interior of the floor. What could our bridge look like? Let's just get a whole bunch of windows here. I don't know that these bay windows are gonna do anything for us, but let's grab the flat windows, the faces, the 1x2s, and these 1x2s. There we go. Okay. I'm doing okay, I'd say. I'm a bit tired. I might not do a long stream today. But it's been a long week. But overall, I'm doing good. The Carolina Reaper is done. It ended up looking like this. This is our redesigned front, which I think turned out pretty good. And then, actually, maybe I will do... No, I don't. Okay, nope, stop. Back to this. So yeah, so now we're making like a shuttle type deal. So, what do I want for the seat? Toilet seat? It would be nice if you could fly the ship from that. What's going to be our... let's see, do we want this as a... like a center one-person pilot? Or like a... You know, we put 2 driver seats kind of deal, like a driver and a passenger seat, and 2 people sit side by side? Or do we do 1 main seat and then like some passenger seats in the back? That's what I'm thinking we'll do. 1 main seat in the front. It'll make the window easier. Because the other option is we do like this kind of thing, like side by side. Something like that. And how does that seem? Is this the 2x? Oh, that's because this is the 2x1. Or, I'm sorry, 2x3. The one that is 2x something. Where's the other one? Isn't there a 3x? Or all the rover ones? I guess, no, these are always 2x3. Okay. Yeah, it's weird that it doesn't mirror it correctly. Yeah, it leaves enough space for a sibling right in the middle. So we could do this as our main seat and kind of build around that. I think that actually might look good, except that it is 2x3, which makes that less fun to build with. We have the buggy cockpit, which isn't going to look good in an interior. Control seat. Yeah, the saddle isn't going to look good in an interior. Yeah, so I guess really my only option is this control seat. Because I'm not going to put a cockpit in the middle, like a enclosed cockpit. So yeah, I think we're going to go with that. Then we're going to build kind of a cockpit around it. Now, we have those bridge. We don't, there's none of this is on small grid, right? Yeah, none of this is on small grid, but we do have those new, don't remember what they're called. They're consoles, right? Of some sort. These things. Here we go. Yeah, console module. So we can kind of we could build something around the front with these things. Right, just to, or, you know, here, hold on. Like, here's what I'm thinking. Like, if it was like, you know, you're killing me, symmetry. But anyway, you know, what? My headlights not working? My head's gone. Yeah, something like that, where we can maybe kind of like build some consoles around it just to kind of imply that you can do more than just fly with this one thing. We'll probably also want to just put some screens in front, since this thing only has the one screen on it anyway. Or we could go with the rover cockpits and do the rover seats and do two next to each other, and just you would fly. One of them would be the main one. I feel like that's going to look better. And it's probably not actually if I, you know, try to build around this whole thing here. So here's what that would look like. Let's take that off. So if we did like one there, and then build the cockpit around this. Yeah, we could put something in the middle there. What kind of screens do these guys have? Nothing you could really see, huh? That's a problem with so many of these. Like, you have to look down to see. I do like that they have like the Wii U controller right in the middle there. That's kind of cool. But yeah, can't really see the screens very well when you're looking forward, which makes them kind of useless. But I do like the that we could build around these, and they would kind of look a little bit more integrated into the cockpit, theoretically, as opposed to being like a seat out in the middle of nowhere. And I do like that they kind of look like the chair might slide back out of here so you can get in and then like slide into place. That's kind of cool. You know, like in Starfield, how, you know, you sit down in the chair, like the chair slides out and you sit down in, and then your character like pulls all the screens nice and, you know, casually does that, you know, and then like you're in the middle of combat and you accidentally push E because you're, you know, mashing buttons, and then your character just nonchalantly gets out of the seat and, has to go through that like 8-second animation, and you can hear the explosions going all over the place. Then you're like, oh, gotta get back in the seat, and then he's like, gotta get back in there. And, well, and those like explosions going all over the place, and he's just like fixing the mirrors and everything. And anyway, I don't like Starfield anymore. Yeah. Anyway, let's try and work around this and see. So we just throw these in there. If folks might be happy to learn that if you're watching Designated Survivors, I did add a mod to remove the armor edges. I decided they've experienced vanilla enough. The armor edges will go away. I got tired of them. Yeah, if you go back and watch my streams of Starfield, I'm pretty sure I did it multiple times on stream, but who knows. Alright, so will these things look good right there? No, they won't, because you would not even be able to reach them, and they're not like readouts or anything. Yeah, we're going to have very different opinions on Starfield then, I think. But that's okay. Did I have these things upside down? Did I have the other one upside down? Did it actually go this way? Oh, it actually goes this way. Yeah, it does. Yeah, well, that kind of makes a little bit more sense then now, doesn't it? So we got those. We got... wait a minute. The screen goes that way? That's weird. Something tells me the screen doesn't actually go that. Okay, mirroring's a little bit weird on this one. Or does it go this way? I guess it goes this way. I think the thing that soured me on Starfield, and I don't want this to turn into Duke bashes on Starfield, was two things. One, I went in with certain expectations of how I wanted to play the game, and it did not kind of allow me to do that. I will say, though, there were many missions that were memorable, like the Crimson... what were they? The pirate guys, right? And you join them, like you infiltrate them. That was a really good mission chain. I really liked that, and I really liked the resolution of that. That was really cool. The one where you fight the Terramorphs was that had a decent reveal to it, and it was okay. Like, it was pretty good. But like, I got really excited about the corporate espionage mission chain on Neon. And that one was extremely disappointing because, like if you play Skyrim and you do like the Thieves Guild or the Dark Brotherhood or something like that, like you can sneak around and, like you can wait for people to go to sleep, and you can break into their houses in the middle of the night while they're asleep, and you could like wait till it's dark out and sneak around and everything. But the stealth in Starfield does not exist. Like stealth is just it, because you break into these places, and it's like no matter what time of day it is, every building is fully staffed. The lights are always fully on everywhere. Like, the stealth is just move around while no one's looking in your general direction, and that's it. Like there's no like it seemed to me that there was less strategy and more like luck, or just like trying to get the timing down. So like after I did the first time I did that mission, it was okay. I was good with it. But after like the third or fourth, like, hey, break into this, fully populated building with the lights on and sneak around through their gigantic ducts. I was just like, this seems just like where I keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I did like the rewards you got from that mission chain, though. That was some cool stuff. But yeah, that did not... I at no point did I feel like I was doing anything stealthy. And a lot of it was try to do the timing. Someone looked at me, I died, do it again. Someone looked, I died, do it again, do it again, do it again. Like, I just kind of resorted to that because I couldn't figure out like what's the actual strategy here, you know. So I don't know. I was not so happy after that, but I did do all of the missions. I got to New Game. I did the main quest. I did the whole game. I think it was, you know, because I like Bethesda games for their modability, and I was excited for Starfield because it seemed like infinite modability. There's like all of these planets that you can go to, and you know, like modders should be able to put stuff everywhere, but there was no reason to. You know, so the modding scene for Starfield died very quickly. I mean, they're still doing stuff, but it's not anything exciting. And that was really disappointing to me. It's like, you know, if you play a Bethesda game, you can get out of the tutorial area and go anywhere, and you will stumble upon content, and you will find missions, and you can just exist in the world and do stuff, right? And you know, if you do that in Starfield, you will very quickly discover that there is very little actually out there for you to stumble upon. Like, the only content is really the missions, like the mission chains. Everything else is like, if you do it enough, you start to notice, like, oh, I've already done this outpost. It just had pirates in it last time, and this time it has spacers, you know, or whatever. It's like the same couple of repeatable dungeons, essentially. But some of the other random missions, like there were a couple of other random missions that weren't part of a chain that were pretty good. I like the Galbank missions were, if you did those, like those were kind of interesting, where you had to go around and shake people down. Some of them were kind of stupid, but some of them were interesting. But like, so what I did was, I went, you know, you go to that, after the first planet you leave, you go to the other planet along the way. You like follow the pirate captain that attacked the first planet, right? And you land on that planet, and it's still in tutorial mode, and it's showing you stuff, and you go to like a little pirate base, and inside that pirate base, there you can hear, well, actually it's not, it's like a research station that got attacked by pirates, right? And you hear that little background lore where they're talking about a terramorph and it escaped and stuff like that, and you're like, oh man, I hope I don't meet that terramorph. Like, is that going to be a big deal in this game, or what? Like, is that part of this mission, or is that just background lore or whatever? And then, so anyway, yeah, I went through that whole mission, and then, you know, they're like, you got to go to the Constellation base on Earth, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to explore the galaxy. You know, I want to see what's out here. Like, what can I stumble into? And I'll tell you exactly what I stumbled into. I walked to the first point of interest I found, and you know what was there? That terramorph. So I'm like a level 1 player, or 2 maybe at most, and there was a terramorph killing a bunch of pirates, and I was like, oh cool, I'll go attack this terramorph. And it did not go well. So I thought it was very strange that in Bethesda games, you know, like the thing you do is go out and explore, and they were like, you know what we should do is right at the point when most players would think to do that, we should put a thing that is way overpowered and will definitely kill them right there. And I thought that was not a choice. But yeah, I did like when the random ships would show up and like offer you, you know, they want to talk to you about your extended warranty or grandma. That was a good one. Yeah, there were a couple of good random encounters, but I did just feel like in a Bethesda game, I expected to be like tripping over content, and more often found myself like just following the mission chains, and that was pretty much it. So, and then I also found the actual like the world building and the actual revelation about who's who and whatnot and what happened to Earth and stuff. Thought it was a little weak, but yeah, I'm not going to complain too much about that. That's however they want to build their world is fine. Anyway, I want to build a window. I want to build a window of some sort. I liked the one where you basically become like Batman, you know, and you get the cool ship. I think I want this to go... The Mantis. Let's see, if I do... that, if I did that, we would not... We would have to get up onto here. So I think this is not going to be the front of the ship. Unless we did that and then went over the top of the seats. Or maybe we need an extra row in the front here. A little bit of extra room. Maybe, I guess, yeah, to maybe put some screens and stuff. I don't know where that battery came from. The base building was very disappointing. After a while, I was like, I don't actually even see the purpose of doing this. It's like everything I need is here. Like, I didn't see the purpose of crafting. I don't know, it just seemed like there was a lot of... Like, we're putting these mechanics in there because it's a Bethesda game, but the world doesn't actually require you to do these things. And I guess in some ways, I feel like I had this conversation with myself on chat like a year ago, but I guess that's fine if it's like a mechanic that you want to do, but you don't have to engage with it, which is a good thing to have in a game. Like, I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, but it just seemed like there was less reward for doing it than there was in other games. So, hey, Steel Helix. I ended up modding Starfield quite a bit to try and make it like exactly what I wanted, and I don't know, they just the modders got bored with it because it wasn't giving, it was a combination of players losing interest, the modders themselves losing interest in playing the game, and the game engine itself being harder to mod. So, which was unfortunate because I had decreed before Starfield came out that I intended to play it for a long time because it would either be good and I would enjoy it, or it would be bad and I would mod it into the thing that I wanted it to be, and then that disappointingly did not happen, so. Am I about to make a stereotypical kind of a bridge shape? Let's see, we could do something like the, oh geez, that was fast. Do something like that. I feel like the whole front of this thing is going to end up being glass if I do this. I didn't even play the DLC, even though I pre-ordered it and technically own it. I never played the DLC for Starfield. The reviews came out, and they were just like, this is a waste of your time. And I was like, I could understand that. So, what shape am I trying to even make here? I'm talking, and I'm not paying attention. This shape, but the other way. That's not going to work then, because I won't be able to put anything behind it. And we could go... What am I doing here? Why are you still here? You're disconnected, aren't you? There we go. How did I had this? I had this a second ago. Yeah, okay. But the other way. Did I not have this the other way? Oh, wait, because it's inverted. That's why. I'm an idiot. I could sit here spinning this thing forever. This is why I need chat to talk to me. Alright. So... Good. So if we did... how are we going to do that, though? Because this needs to be up. We have an off by 1 error going on. What if... Whoops. What if... we were... What if we went even one more for... Oh, actually... What if we went this way first? And then I don't think there is a window that fits in that spot. If I was to do that. We don't have a 2x2 window. We could do... Could I do... If we were to bring this up, yeah, we could do that. And then... This is starting to look like a rather large shuttle. Potentially larger than it needs to be. Maybe we get rid of you. You know, actually, maybe... Let me make a roof here so I could see what I'm dealing with in terms of the height I need to work with. Okay. So this does not have to be glass all the way around. It could be just in the front, which means... Let's see, so we could do... Swap this over like this. I don't think I can put that there. I almost feel like it's too big. Too big of a window, too big of a front. But if I was to cover... What if we were going... What if we did like a... let's see, what do I need to connect these to? We need... I think this piece exists, right? If I do this and then this... Yeah, that exists. Does that exist? I actually don't think that exists. It's not... Is it this guy? Maybe it is. Let's see, we would need... No, it wouldn't be this guy. It wouldn't be that guy. Yeah, no, I don't think that exists. But it doesn't mean we can't shove something in there anyway. Could. Yeah, I mean, we could do something like... We could do that, let that stick out. Or swap that with that. Yeah, there we go. Problem solved. So we could do a window like right there. Seems kind of cramped now. Seems kind of cramped. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do I guess the question is how roomy do I want this thing to even be, right? Like, am I going to be flying it from the inside? That hole doesn't need to be there at the end of the day, but would we want to maybe get rid of these top windows? Then we could push this up right in front of it. Get rid of the side windows entirely. I was kind of, yeah, Runabout is one of the inspirations that we're going for here. The other being a Battlestar Galactica Raptor. So, we could try. Putting that like right up to there. Then what's our... I'm just trying to think of the view from the inside, so just ignore this. To make this a little close. Do sides... What do you mean sides upper glass? Just do the sides in glass? This isn't terrible. This does have a very runabout-esque feel to it, especially if I were to take, like, that out and do, because the runabouts have the split front window deal, like every seat's got its own little windshield. Yeah, so we did that. Then we're very runabout-esque now, because you get your two little windows in front. Yeah. Except in a runabout, the windows are more like, I'm going off of memory here, so. Oh, I actually don't think you can do because there's no half-slope window, is there? Yeah, no, there isn't, is there? Well, maybe you can't do it the way runabout windows actually are. Because they're like this. But, well... They're like that. You know, they go like up and back, but without the, you know, they would just be like the half and then the half, basically. This is actually a pretty cool looking design. It just is completely non-functional, like this. What if... No, these things only have... Yeah, I originally had the whole thing, the whole front was glass originally. And then I was trying to see if I could block some of it off and have some, like, pillar-looking things in here. We could try. If I go back one, get rid of that. Is yours inspired by anything? Or is it just a cool shuttle? If we put that in between, then I could hang I could put screens in the middle there. You know, I could put 2 screens right there so you could see what's going on. That would be useful. This might be okay as a starter here. It would be difficult to do windows going around this corner, right? What else do I have for windows? I don't have any other... Oh, we got round windows. We got round windows, you guys. I never use round windows. Should we maybe do... Let me put them in the group here, because what if we tried some stuff? What if we really got crazy? Is the front design good? I don't want to take your design. It's all part of the creative process. The struggle is the reward. You know. That's why I have these streams. So people can watch me struggle instead of me doing it alone in the bedroom. I'm just looking at what kind of shapes we might be able to work with here. So we got that, that's the inverted. Then we got the face. If we did... Or did I just put that? Can't get that out of there. Okay, one moment. There we go. Yes, that looks dumb. That looks very dumb. Yeah, I don't see this, because that's a 90-degree angle. I don't really see these looking good here. Could we... Let's fool around a little bit more with these things for a second. So we've got that. Right? We've got that. There is no window that fits right there. But there's no window that fits there. In fact, everything that I was just thinking I was going to do would not work. Okay, hang on now. So you're saying hit it up like that. We'll figure out what these blocks should be. They'll probably be something else, but you're thinking as far as the general shape, keeping it more like that. Put 1x2 flats. Put the the plates. These things. We could slope corner tops and slope windows. Oh, you're saying just keep going with windows up here. That's the one I'd use. Like that. Something like that. Alright, for sides, slope corner top. You're saying like so we could do, that's the wrong one. We could do that. I'm almost tempted, actually I am quite tempted to go like for the side here to go back to this. Let's see, is this going to work the way I think it is or no? To go back to that there, and then something like that. And then if we really wanted to, then we could actually make this go, let's see. This isn't not what I was thinking. We could go, let's see. Could do then I'd have to fix this front part here. Is that gonna work with the chair right under it? I don't think so. That is the right shape though. Maybe I just need to move that out one. Alright, I'm not gonna say right shape, but that is a good shape. I like it. Yeah, let me check. But I don't think that this will work. If I wanted to do like, yeah, because I would have to do like an upside down thing right here. And I can't get that in there. So we would have to move all this out by one. Where's mine? I'll get there. There we go. So if we did that, hit me with the inverted, then we could Uh-huh. Nothing but windows all over the place. Oh, look, a bay window. We could have just done bay windows all the way across. Really. That might have just been easier as a look. Well, anyway, let me take this to its conclusion here, and then we'll see where we end up. Let's see. Would I want this on the inside? I guess if I could put it on the outside. Let's put it on the outside. Alright, and then we got this one back. And... something like that for the front of this thing. If we were to sit inside, it would look like that, and then we'd have like our screens right there. That might not be too bad. Then we could do something along the outside here to maybe make it look a little bit less bad. See, if we were going to use these things, then the front would basically look like, yeah. Oh, I guess there's this too. Could have thrown that on the top somewhere. I could throw one of these, like, instead of having these two, we could have just like a, I know the mirror is busted, but we could throw no, that wouldn't be airtight. I don't know if I'm planning to let this thing be airtight, to be honest. Yeah, so it'd probably end up looking something stupid like this. Yeah, that would be like our going around. That feels more like an observation window rather than a something for flying through atmosphere. Okay, so let's work on the armor around this thing for a bit and hope I don't disconnect everything. Let me maybe put some extra armor there for a minute. Yeah, okay, alright. So what if, let's see. It's starting to look more like a Battlestar Galactica Cylon Raider as opposed to a... let's see. This thing needs to be not so flat right there. I was trying to think about like putting a brim around it. But it's really starting to look like if you look at the front, it's starting to look like a space truck, you know? I think this would look better if it was this way. But that might be difficult with the... Actually, that wouldn't really be difficult with the chairs, would it? I wouldn't even mind the fact that it's kind of flat on the front. Although we could fix that. We could change that. What's everyone's thought on that? I kind of like this look better with the, you know, like the sheer, you know, like it, as opposed to it being more vertical in the front and then kind of curving back. Because we could also, imagine this is the front now. We could pop these out and instead continue the forward slope here. I just need something to latch onto there. Yeah, if we wanted to do something like that. Or maybe it makes sense to just have it flat. A little bit of flat on the front. Let's try something real quick. Right there. Kind of like that better. I like that better. And we could put transparent screens right there in front of those two. And either the holographic ones or the transparent ones, and have a little readout there in addition to the whatever we put up on the side there. I think that looks better. As opposed to this way. Yeah, we're going to go with that. All right, so how are we going to pull that off? We're going to pull that off by literally pulling this whole thing off. Seem to have disconnected some of this. Oh, no, I just don't have mirror mode on. That makes sense. Oops. All right. Nope. Did I lose my mirror ability on you? Yep. There we go. It's still facing the wrong way, right? Yes. Ah, good. I did not put it even in the mirror. Okay. It's fine. We can fix that. Stand by. Minor inconvenience. A lot of holes. This would have been easier if I would have just pasted the thing somewhere else and then picked it up again so I could cut this, but didn't want to lose the thing on my clipboard. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this proper this time. Yeah, okay. There we go. All right. Okay, so that is our... We'll probably make that match. What am I missing from the side here? One of something like this. Okay. Okay, so that's going to be the front of the ship, and we could probably do something with the rest of this. Though I have no idea at the moment what. Let's see. I think for one thing, we have way too much brim going on here. Let's get rid of all this. Kind of throwing me off. So, yeah, we need... I think we're going to try some things and see how this looks. Kind of think it should be something along the lines of, because we're going to need to run like conveyors through the floor and stuff, so I think we might even have to stuff some cargo partially in the floor. So I think this thing actually is going to end up being like there's this level here, and that's kind of that, and then potentially like yeah, probably like 3, so 2 floors here, basically 2 layers of block, because we'll have underneath, we'll have thrusters, we'll have, you know, there'll have to be conveyor going through this layer, and then we'll have to have thrusters in this layer. So I think that makes sense. And then that gives us the ability to have like some shapes that are like... kind of like that. Give us a little bit of a... do we want it that way, or do I want it the opposite way? Hang on. No, I think I like it this way. Alright, so make it simple first, then we'll greeble it up. So our corner between there looks like... could look like that. Could look like that. Want to add a little depth to it. Or it could just look like that if we wanted to slope around. Everybody got quiet. I assume that means you approve of what I'm doing here. That's going to look a little too square, I think. I think we need to start this transition here with the good old this guy. Yep. No, now I've lost it again. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. I'm trying to think of what... If I'm going like a Battlestar Galactica Raptor, which kind of has like a little bit of a brim, but not really. It's really more of a wing on the side. Kind of don't like this schnoz going down the middle here, so I think I'm going to do something with that to make that less... hopefully this actually doesn't make it look more schnozzy. I would love to get rid of this green plane when I'm trying to look at stuff. Yeah, you know, actually this could look okay, because we could maybe pinch this in a little bit on the front here. The final front here. Yeah. Okay, so what would this look like if we were to follow this same shape around the bottom? What would it look like? Would we need to start here? I guess it depends on how much of a wing. Like, we could just stop right there like this, and that could be just like a flat piece sticking out as opposed to making it a... Well, now let's make this all thick, and then somewhere around the wing sticking out further here will end up... I need a name for this thing. I know it's hard to visualize at this point, because we don't know what it looks like at the end, but if anybody wants to come up with a name for it, you know, I don't know what Raptors, if the Raptors had any naming convention. I know the runabouts were all named after rivers. So, whatever we want to do, I'm open to it. Right, so that's going to look like that. On the bottom side there, perhaps, if we decide to keep that. Because I'm thinking this here will continue on. Like, this will be kind of... maybe not this far, but this will continue like that, whereas the wing here might continue out further in a single layer. Just as a visual. But that this will be as thick as this goes. Actually, I might even say that we'll start the thinning early, like here. Alright, and then right here I was thinking, perhaps something along the lines of... Where are you? What's this going to look like on the top if I do it like that? Let's not do it like that. Then we'll end up breaking this thing on the front here too, which is fine. We can break that. Just let's see. Yeah, I kind of want to do it this way so that it goes in faster. So then on the bottom here we could either mimic this directly like that. Ah, stuck. And then, no. Actually, I think it would look better if it sloped in, if it took longer to slope in. So let's do that. Okay. Yeah, we could bring that shape all the way in too. It doesn't have to... how's that going to connect? I guess we'll find out when we get there. There we go. And what are you going to look like up here? You're going to look like something really goofy, aren't you? What have we for you? No. Oh. You would just be that again. I'm going to get this thing out of my way here for a moment and do this. There we go. Hopefully that is actually attached. It is. Alright, so what am I even doing here? What is this? What is all this? Okay, alright. Alright. Still not thrilled with how this part looks, but we can come back to that in a little bit. I do like this, though. And we could, if we wanted, pop one of these down to a half slope and put like a little light or a spotlight on it or something like that. Or carve out a space there like that to put a spotlight. You know, like one of those half lights. That's not bad. Alright, so if we wanted then to maybe kind of gradually move outward from here. The wrong way. There we go. Something like that. And we could kind of move to out to a wing shape. I don't want to get too far out with it, but maybe that's as far as we go then. About that far. For our kind of wing around there. Cut it to like there. Maybe we go out one more beyond that. Yeah, but that's like kind of our flat wing part. Is that what I was doing? I guess that works. That is not what I was doing. No, that was not what I was doing. Doing this. So I'm back here. If we're going to fill this all in or whatever. We could still bring... Where's our door going to be? That's a good question. And what kind of door are we doing on this thing? We've got options. I don't like these half ones because they don't work well in space. We do have the... Here. We've got this thing. That's decent. We could put that... Well, we'd have to move it back to, like, there. Probably put it, like, there, at least. So that we can kind of expand the interior a little. We've got the... We have this one. Which isn't bad. That is not all the small grid doors. Please tell me we have more small grid doors. That could be entirely correct, though. I seem to remember for a long time we only had the one small grid door. Yeah, that is correct. We got no other doors, huh? Yeah, okay. Well, let's see. What do we like? That or that? If we did this, we could put it a little further back. Yeah, this seems better for this kind of a vehicle to me. So I think maybe we'll put it like right. I have to think about this. How much do I want to expand the roof to match up to that? Should expand a little bit. This thing, if this thing launches from the Eagle 5, it's probably going to have to dock on the top of the ship. So, keeping that in mind, because it is rather large for the interior. It will end up being rather large. Let's, I don't know, let's put the doors right there. And, or maybe they should have been in one. Make them in one. I think I would rather have them this way. Well, no. I'm gonna have, well, let me do the armor on the top here first. So I want to gradually whoops. I want to gradually start to expand this out. That is not the right shape to do it. So that means we could either do something like that. I think that actually works pretty well. Throw that on there. It kind of look cool. Swoop down like that. What is our side going to look like then if we did that? That looks like a... That looks like a this. Which means we would probably be looking at something like... what have I got for you? Or what have you got for me? None of those. One of these, though, will do it. There we go, that's the one I'm thinking of. Alright. And then this can continue maybe kind of like this. We could do a... Oh, come on. Oh, you're in here. I know you're in here. Come out. Actually, that's not bad, but I was thinking of... Okay, I know this. Okay, I couldn't see it because it was sideways. So if we did that... I feel like we could have the doors be out more. Like, they could be along here, and we could make this work probably. Let's see, how can we make this work? How tall are the doors? Tall. Yeah. So I think my sloping downiness is not Great. Especially since... Yeah. We're going to have to keep going up with the slope of the roof. We have to make this thing taller by 1 block to be able to accommodate these doors. Anyway, so... That means that actually... Gotta get rid of all that. And we first need to... What are you having a conniption about? First need to go up a level. So... Is that gonna look weird? Let's see. Let's do like... Oops. Let's do like that to hold you in place. Yes, that does look weird. Get rid of you. Let's see. I think we're gonna end up doing like a staggered. I just put a block somewhere. I don't know where. There you are. That's not bad. Okay. Alright, what was the height I was trying to get to? So it fit under here, right? Okay. I think. So right about here is where I want the doors to rest. So... no, actually right about there is where I want the doors to be. That should be doable. What about... Can we make it? Can we... 1, 2... I don't think I can make that connection directly there, can I? This isn't even what I want to be doing here. Hang on. Yeah, no. We need this to really start bumping out here much sooner. So if we did... Okay, I'm just marking how far we would, if we wanted to do that chain of things, where we would have to end up to kind of match up here. So we'd have to pull... Yeah, I think we might have to push the doors back even further, or not have them stick so far out. Because honestly, this wouldn't be too bad if it pushed in one, so... Okay, what if we did do... Because we could always extend the interior past the doors. So if we put the doors like here... Not there, that's going to be way too close. Where did I have them before? Like, this level? If we put them... Like... I don't think this is going to do what I want it to do, but... Yeah, no, I'd have to rethink this whole... Maybe. Yeah, we basically have to do this. We could go... We can continue building around this door. Basically, if we wanted to. But, why do I only have one door? Dang you, symmetry. Come on. Well, if we wanted the door itself to be right about here, we could still flip it. And say that that's what we're trying to get to there. This is not easy. This is hard. This is hard because I don't exactly know where I want the roof to kind of end up, right? Like, I think around the door, I don't know, we'll come up with something right there, but like, do I want that to then mesh into that? Would we take this bottom part here and kind of continue it along till we hit the door, and then maybe pick it up on the other side like that? At some point we got a slope, so that's the trick. Is it going to be there? I hope this isn't terribly boring for everybody. This is actually a lot of fun for me to try to figure out these shapes. Not quite. Yeah, we could just... I think that might actually look cool, like right there. I appreciate you sticking around. It's all part of the process, you know? Like, I don't know what it's going to look like. I've got to try a bunch of different shapes and see what looks good and what doesn't. And pretty soon we're going to have to go on the inside of this and figure out does it look terribly blocky in here because of the way I have... What the heck is going on here? They got a random block. Should probably check the other side here. Seem to have disconnected a bunch of blocks that might mess me up in the future. But yeah, we could... whoa. There's a lot of options here. Like, we've got... I'm using this a lot, but we could also use this one as a way to, like, get a flat thing going there, and then maybe it's gonna be all blocky on the inside, but we'll figure that out later. Why did I do that? Oh, that's not the block I meant to put there. That's the block I meant to put there. So we can do something like that. Be nice if the sun was in the correct direction. Yeah, so then you get the... Like, I don't know why you would, if you were the actual designer of this thing, design it to look like this with all the stuff sticking out. But what's interesting is that it does look like I could easily smooth this down, and I actually think I could. I could make this a completely smooth surface for the most part. I might have to adjust that a little bit, but does that look better? I feel like that looks more interesting. And it does give me some opportunities. I could drop some lights around and stuff. I don't know quite what to do with the top. Maybe it just stay... Well, maybe we stick some turrets there or something. Or maybe we put turrets... Just some small turrets on the wings or something like that. This does give us a good amount of cargo space. Like, we could drop cargo containers in here or in the back. This is gotten bigger than I was... No, actually it's about as big as I was expecting, now that I say that. So that's basically the front. That's the cabin. And the rest of it, which is probably going to go out to like here, is going to be cargo, hydrogen, etc. And then we're going to have to fill in the bottom, carve out space for conveyors and stuff. And then, let's see, in here, this all isn't too bad in here. Like, we could just kind of mesh this all in, make it look a little bit less blocky or something, you know. I don't know. Something like that. You know, and then you walk in, you get to your seat. You're good to go. Yeah, I think that's good. I think we will end up putting some sort of a screen on the front here. But other than that, I think this is looking pretty good. So this part, I'm going to go back to the side where there's sunlight. I'm going to go a little bit longer, and then I'm going to call it a night because I'm getting exhausted. Let's just make some big old floor here for a minute. Need to figure out how big this cabin is going to be and where the docking port. So we need to stick a docking port. I guess the real question is, do I need... If we're going to put a docking port in the bottom, do I need large conveyor all the way through? Because if I did... this guy. If we threw one of these in the bottom, like right in the middle here, ish, we'd have to... we'd have to do a big tube out the back of it, which wouldn't be the worst thing. Because I'm thinking you know, if we're looking at like where this is, we've got we've got basically 2 large blocks in front, which is like roughly there. Well, that's 5, isn't it? Isn't 1 large block 5 small blocks? So let's count it from like here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're even. I don't even know that we'd be able to. I might have to park it backwards. That wouldn't be the worst thing. I might have to hang off the edge a little bit. Okay, well, we'll have to figure that out, because I think what happens basically is, let's hypotheticalize for a moment. Let's say we dropped a conveyor like right, or a connector like right there. Okay, and then, you know, the bottom is going to be double thick to, you know, to account for that. Then we have, let's see, what's going to be, I was thinking originally piping, and we would just have a big old tube going to some cargo, but now I'm thinking, instead we do this one, and then we have like a, I think I've got cargo in the bar already, right? We do, yep, we do this. There we go. And then, oh heck, we could even do them, we could even double stack them and have the roof go up another one to cover it. And then it's accessible from the inside, accessible from the connector, and then we start our, like, hydrogen throw. In fact, we could put our, what's our options for hydrogen tanks these days? This thing looks cool. We could start, because it's just hydrogen now, we could start these in the back here, or we could do, because basically our engines are going to come off of these things on the back, so we could do them side by side and just pipe them up some other way. I think if we did them off the side of this, it would be too wide, but honestly, is it? Possibly. Possibly. But I think that means that our interior space is essentially this. Hey, Devil Knight, how you doing? Good to see you. If the connector needs to go down one, try it as the first floor. No, I think this is actually where it needs to be, because this will be that thick, and so it'll be like flush with the bottom. I don't know if that's as far back as it needs to be. I actually think that probably works fine if I was to park this thing facing backwards, because what I intend to do is, after this part, we're essentially gonna, you know, start to slope up a bit at the back there. Yeah, no, I get no worries. It's cool. It's difficult to impart your ideas in words when visuals help even better. So I think we could do that. We might have to move this back a little bit, but I think if essentially this is going to become our, what's the airtightness of these things? If I really wanted to make this thing airtight. Do I want it to be airtight though? Because if it's essentially, there's no airlock and it's essentially landing, it's not going to land in an, yeah, I guess we don't care about it. I don't care if it's airtight. If you're flying around in this thing, you're wearing a spacesuit. That's the deal. Okay. So, but yeah, this will essentially be the back of the cabin. So, can I walk here? Yes. So I'll walk in. This is how much space we get. We'll put some passenger seats here. Maybe we'll put like a little, you know, a little bar or something. I don't know. We'll decorate the inside somehow. we'll figure something out. But yeah, this will essentially be the inside. And then we'll have our two... We'll have cargo access here. Maybe we'll put some cargo bins around for effect or whatever. But that'll be it. And then we'll be able to fly. We'll be able to hop into the seats here. Maybe we will see... What does this look like from the outside? I went through the door, even though there's a hole in the ceiling. We could make this roof right here a little higher, or at least make it appear to be a little higher if we wanted. It doesn't have to be a perfect little... Although it kind of messes with my triangles. I don't know. We'll figure the interior out. It's really starting to come together now for me, I think, and it's looking surprisingly close to a Battlestar Galactica Raptor, which I was not intending to stick to, but it's not looking too bad. It's not looking too bad. Then back here is where we will end up putting things like batteries, gyros, I don't know. Well, things like computers and event controllers and stuff we'll probably put on the in the cabin just because they look cool for decoration and stuff. Yeah. But I think that's looking good, to be honest. I like it. I appreciate everybody's input on the windows and everything. So this is essentially going to be a fairly boring bottom, which is my preference. Although I might throw some half blocks on the bottom just to kind of to break it up a little in the same way that I did for, like there. And then we'll have to do some painting, of course, and some programming and all that good stuff. So, well, thanks, Ramboli. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I imagine there will probably be at least 2 more streams of working on this thing, because I don't think we'll get it done on the next stream. What time even is it? Yeah, we're getting close to the end. Let me think a little bit more about what we want to do here. So the way the Raptors kind of work on Battlestar Galactica, we got this thing right here. We could mount a custom turret right on the top there. Because here's what I'm thinking, right? We're going to use this to go down to planets and stuff, and potentially, like, establish bases and stuff like that. So we'll probably... Oh, I should throw a survival kit on here somewhere. Maybe we will jam one on the back of this here. Oh, should this thing have cryo chambers on it? Actually, if we're going to go down to... Well, it's survival kit will be fine. We'll just if we die, we'll just respawn at the survival kit. That's fine. Okay, sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. So the idea is, you go down to a new planet, you bring, like, some of the rarer ores with you to help establish your base. So that's basically what we would load this up with, and some basic components to get a base established, and then we would just mine the ground, you go from there, the usual Space Engineers loop. But some of the planets, I'm not going to name names, but some of the planets in this world have well, not this world, but in the Designated Survivors world have spiders on them. And it is nice to have a little turret or something to be able to help you defend against the spiders, because I am not telling the guys that there are spiders on the planets. And really looking forward to them learning, because I know they don't watch the stream on Thursdays. So I'm really excited to find out how they deal with that the first time it happens. But it would be nice to have a little bit of protection. So we could do a pretty cool looking turret up here, I think. And maybe some smaller ones on the wings or something like that. I don't know. But I think it would be very cool to have a PM dub on top here. So we'll plan for that. We'll put a... actually, what would we do? We could do... Gatlings are what we need, right? For maybe we'll just stick some interior turrets. on the wings or something. I think the Raptors, if I recall, they hang turrets underneath the bottoms of their wings, and we don't have the space for that. So, anyway, what I was going to say was, I think what we're going to end up doing for the wings, I think we're going to end up going out a little bit more. Just a little. But I think what we're going to end up doing for the wings is having a little... That's the wrong... Am I actually going to be able to do it? No, I don't think I'm going to be able to do what I want to do. They usually have like a thing hanging down at the very end there. We could, instead of doing plates to do that, we could... is this going to look bad? This might look bad, but we could do this instead. That would be okay. Yeah. That'll be okay. Instead of the plates. Actually kind of looks pretty good. It'll help stabilize us when we land. We'll have the mag plates in the middle somewhere, so it won't be a big deal, but that'll help stabilize landing. And yeah, we'll figure out how to make this look good on the front there so it's not just flat. Okay, so that'll be next time. We'll continue working on this thing. As a recap, I still do need a name for it, so if somebody wants to suggest a name, I don't want to call it the Raptor. I'm good with calling it another dinosaur name. If somebody wants to throw one out. I guess Raptor is technically, very technically speaking, not necessarily a dinosaur name, but whatever. I'm pretty sure they named it after the dinosaur. Whatever you want to do. And then as a recap, at the beginning of the stream, we finished the Carolina Reaper down here, which is our new fighter ship, which is looking pretty sweet. So, next time we will continue working on the Raptor-alike here, and tomorrow I'm doing Elder Scrolls Online, as always on Fridays, and Sunday we'll be doing Designated Survivors, which is the multiplayer co-op Space Engineers series that I do with my friends who, before this series, had never played Space Engineers before. I kind of don't like the way this looks right here. Like, I'm kind of good with all of this, except for right there, because there's parallel, and then there's this weird thing going on there. But I'm going to save that for next time because if it still bothers me next time, then I'll fix it. If it doesn't bother me next time, then it will not have been worth fixing. So that's the plan. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Please do consider liking the video if you have not already liked the video. It does help with the algorithm, so I can continue on my march to... How we doing? We're almost to 800 subscribers, and I would like to, by the end of the year, if possible, get to 1,000 subscribers. I think that's a very tight goal that may not be achievable, but it would be really awesome if it could happen. So I just crossed over 750 this week, so we're getting there. And then please subscribe if you would like to get notified when I go live. If you would like to get, if you'd like to join the Discord, that's where I tend to post just like announcements of if the schedule changes and stuff. But I do tend to schedule things at least a week ahead of time. So that's it. That's all of my spiel that I got. So we'll see you all next time, and appreciate you all hanging out. Take care.